shifter.
It's a right 6 to crest 150, left 4 over crest. It's a right 4 short.
Oh. Gauche tout à fait. No engine. No.
90 droite.
Caution, caution. Whoa, whoa, no, no.
200 miles, danger, coupe à droite.
Okay, 5 left narrow, into caution, crest will jump downhill.
Welcome to the Canadian Rally Championship on Rogers Sportsnet. Today's event is round 3, the Makita Bighorn Rally in Edson, Alberta. I'm Paul Chater, and subbing for Jamie Campbell is former rally driver and Sportsnet producer Lawrence Partington. Edson is about 2 hours west of Edmonton in northern Alberta. The town was settled in the early days of the Continental Railroad. Today, it's an important center for the logging and oil industries.
It's an important center for rallying too, Paul. There are several classes in the Canadian Championship, but the overall winners are nearly always from the open or Group N categories, which means turbocharged and all-wheel drive. This Mitsubishi is a typical well-prepared open-class car. To go really fast with confidence on gravel, you need to be able to stop in a hurry, and these massive 305mm racing calipers do the job. Suspensions have to be upgraded to withstand the high-speed jumps and bumps. The 50mm shock absorber piston on this DMS strut is about 5 times the normal size. The body shell is seam welded, and there's a fuel cell in the trunk modified to accept 2 spare tires. A removable skid plate protects the underside of the engine and other key components. That brace across the strut towers stiffens the chassis and makes the whole car stronger. The 4-cylinder engine generates about 375 horsepower, turbocharged, of course. The interior is pretty Spartan. To save weight, all the niceties like upholstery and soundproofing have been stripped out, replaced by a roll cage and lightweight racing seats.
There are a few unusual controls that you'd only find in a rally car, like this tall chrome lever. That's a hydraulic handbrake that acts only on the rear wheels to spin the car around in hairpins.
The co-driver has a fire extinguisher and a first aid kit close at hand, and a foot switch for the windshield wipers and the horn. A rally computer gives him accurate distances to the corners, and a racing tachometer. It also monitors the engine functions and will record maximum revs and temperatures on a special stage.
And braking power is everything in a rally car. And this little switch dials the brake balance from front to rear. Balance is everything when you're sideways at 150K. Now, the driver's job description is pretty simple, but what does the guy in the right seat do? We asked the former British champion.
The co-driver's job is quite an integral part of the team. Basically, it's my job to make sure the car is in the right place at the right time, on the right tyres, with the right amount of fuel. During the actual special stage, it's my job to give Tom, my driver, as much information as I can so we can complete the stage faster than everybody else. On this particular event, we're not issued with any maps or any pace notes, so I've got a route book. The route book gives us instructions, and it gives us the total mileage for the stage, and it gives the interval mileage between each instruction. And the instructions, as you can see, is straightens over crest, long left, long right over crest, and hard right opens. To give this information, obviously, I need other tools. This is the Coralba, and this is my odometer, if you like. It's a very technical odometer. It gives me 3 displays. I put trip 1 in one display, I put trip 2 in another display, and then I can put overall speed, or I can put fuel. I can move the displays as I wish, and it's close enough for me so that I can operate it during the special stage. During the special stage, obviously I've got to talk to Tom, and it's very important that I'm able to communicate with him. We use a very complicated intercom system, which is built into the crash helmet. I talk into this boom, and Tom hears me through these earpieces. This is plugged into an intercom system, of which we actually have 2, one as a spare, because it's very important that if that breaks, we need to be able to change over. Another important part of my job is to make sure that the onboard camera located in the back of the car looking forward is switched on by this control panel here. That's very important so you guys can enjoy the ride at home with me and Tom.
The Canadian Rally Championship, presented by Subaru and Yokohama, consists of 9 events, starting in January with the Rally Personnage-Maniwaki in Quebec.
The Rally International de Quebec is a very popular winter event, attracting top international teams to Quebec City.
The Makita Bighorn Rally starts a 3-race swing through Alberta and BC.
From Edson, the circus moves to Calgary for the Rocky Mountain Rally 1 week later.
BC's Pacific Forest Rally returns to the series this year and promises some very scary mountain stages.
From the west coast to the east, round 6 is on Quebec's Gaspé Peninsula. The Bay is known for its big entry, high attrition, and loony fans.
St. Agath's location in the Laurentians just north of Montreal makes it a popular destination for drivers and spectators alike.
And the historic Manoir Richelieu is headquarters for the Rally Charlevoix in Quebec. This 3-day pace note event is run to World Championship rules.
And finally, the season will wrap up in late November in Ontario at the Rally of the Tall Pines. And back at Edson, the Makita Bighorn Rally, the cars will start at 1-minute intervals, flagged off by the mayor.
We're happy to have them. We're happy to have the fans. It's an exciting event, and we're just really pleased with it all.
These are the defending Canadian champions, BC's Pat Richard and Ian McCurdy in a brand new 2004 Subaru WRX STI.
This car just arrived in the country 3 weeks ago. The mechanics worked around the clock in Toronto. They put it on the trailer, drove here nonstop. They took it off the trailer in Saskatchewan and actually drove the last few hundred kilometers to Edson just to break in the engine.
Car number 2 will be driven by Andrew Comrie Picard, originally from Edmonton, now living in New York, and his new co-driver, Mark Goldfarb.
Now, Comrie Picard crashed at the Paris-Neige Rally. He finished an excellent 3rd at Rally Quebec. It's an open-class Mitsubishi Evo 4. Comrie Picard has won many stages and is often on the podium, but he has not yet won a national rally overall.
And here's another Evo 4, the Ericsson brothers, Sylvain and Philippe from Gatineau, Quebec.
They were the dominant team at the opening Paris-Neige Rally. It's their home event. They led from start to finish. They were fighting for the lead again in Quebec City when honestly it was a stupid crash on a spectator stage, took them out early. They've got sponsorship from Motul and Yokohama, but that's just product. Sylvain pays nearly all the bills himself. He and Andrew Comrie Picard do not get any assistance from Mitsubishi Canada.
Ericsson takes the lead on stage 1, 5 seconds faster than Patrick Richard and 7 faster than Comrie Picard. Here's the 5-time Canadian champion Tom McGear in his very well-developed Subaru WRX.
Tom was a late entry. The Subaru team admit that Patrick's new STI isn't fully prepared, and they wanted Tom here just for insurance. By his very high standards, he is having kind of a mediocre season. He crashed while 5th at Paris-Neige in Maniwaki, then finished 4th at Quebec. He trails in the championship by 9 points.
Yeah, but 2 poor events doesn't mean these new young guys can ignore the old pro. McGear is here to prove I'm still the best.
McGear will tie Ericsson for fast time on stage 1. Another fast team to watch, Janusz Komorowski from Calgary and Malcolm Swan from Charlottetown in a Mitsubishi Eclipse. They were 3rd quick on stage 1.
So far, we've just seen the front-running open class cars, but rallying has a class for just about everybody. Here's Gord Olson from Brooks, Alberta. He's the champion in Group 2 for 2-wheel drive cars in his VW GTI. A talented driver, but he was beaten on this stage by his rival for the Group 2 championship, Peter Riley from Ontario in a Ford Focus. And there's the leaderboard. After 1 stage, Sylvain Ericsson is in the lead, tied with McGear, ahead of Komorowski, Richard, and Lestage. Andrew Comrie Picard is back in 6th.
That was just the stage for the spectators. The real rally is coming up.
Rally on Sportsnet is the presentation of Subaru Canada, driven by What's Inside. And by Yokohama Performance Radios. Yokohama, now you've got control.
Inside's the difference. It's what's inside that makes the difference. Between just handling the road, attacking, and scorching the pavement. Between just moving and riding curves like you're on rails. Between just going and tearing the wind in half. The 227 horsepower, turbocharged, all-wheel drive Subaru WRX. Subaru, driven by what's inside. Sometimes it's not the power you have, it's the power you have to spare. That's something inside. That burst of speed. That jolt of energy that gives you the edge. The new turbocharged all-wheel drive Subaru Forester. Subaru, driven by what's inside.
Welcome back to the Makita Bighorn Rally, stage number 2, a real country road this time, 13.5 kilometers long, ultra fast with the cars hitting speeds over 180 kilometers an hour. We're riding along with Patrick Richard in car number 1.
Come on, car, go. Car won't go.
Paul, he's talking about the gearing. Pat's not used to these stock gear ratios. Rally cars are usually geared for strong acceleration rather than top speed, but today, top speed is a big advantage.
Here's Comrie Picard in the number 2 Mitsubishi. His Coralvo Rally computer indicated a top speed of 182 on this stage. He wins the stage by 7 seconds and moves into the lead.
Now there's the reason why they need an intercom of these cars. It's not just the roar of the engine, it's the gravel pounding on the bottom of the car. Listen to the noise.
Gauche, gauche, gauche.
Trouble for Ericsson on stage 2.
Droite en haut, d'en haut.
There's no boost on the turbocharger.
Hein?
And without that horsepower, they're out of the rally.
On the second stage of the today, and 2K in the end, we feel the engine, lots of lost power and smoke, and we decide to just stop. The big problem is it's going to be ready for Calgary. That's the question. We try.
Now we're riding with McGear and Davis. They'll be the first car to come across Ericsson on the side of the road.
Yeah, triangle is blowing it.
Smell of smoke or oil. Long swing left over a crest.
Ericsson has pulled off to the side and displayed a warning triangle. Unlike circuit racing, where there are flaggers and safety marshals lining the course, in rallying it's the responsibility of the crew to warn oncoming traffic, and it's the responsibility of the next car to determine whether medical attention is required.
McGear thinks he has a disadvantage on the extremely fast stages because his racing dog box gives him a top speed of just 175k. But on a tighter road like stage 3, he wins at an average speed of 102. He'll beat rally leader Comrie Picard by 8 seconds, and Tom McGear moves into the lead.
After 3 stages, the drivers meet with their service crews. Tom McGear is leading in the 4 car, but there's only 8 seconds covering the top 3. 2 of those drivers work for Team Subaru.
We think we were behind. We may have got some time back, but it's a good tight battle with Comrie Picard. And we're just having a good day. So we're either first or second, but Pat's right there. So it's a nice 3-way fight. It's good fun. It's too bad about Ericsson though.
Pat Richard starts stage 4, Deer Hill, 13.5 kilometers long. They'll run this stage in one direction, and then they turn around and come back for the final stage of day 1. And Lawrence Richard is just getting used to his new car.
Richard and the Subaru Canada team have an extremely ambitious racing program this year. Not only are they contesting the Canadian Championship, but they're also campaigning in the World Rally Championship for production cars. I can't think of another car company in this country that's racing its products internationally. It's impressive for the team and the driver.
Richard's split time at 3.5 Ks, 1 minute, 19 seconds.
Here's Comrie Picard second on the road, 1 minute behind Patrick Richard. You can see Richard's dust hanging over the road.
From outside the car, it's all pretty smooth sliding from one corner to the next, but inside, looking at the steering wheel move, that strip of white tape on the top is to help the driver know at a glance when the wheels are straight. The wheel is going lock to lock so quickly, it's not always easy to tell. Comrie Picard's split time is 2.6 seconds slower. Here's rally leader Tom McGear.
Swing left.
Now that's not fog, that's dust, and it's pretty hard to see through this, to say nothing of what it's doing to the inside of the car.
At the split, he's just 3/10 behind Comrie Picard. Fading daylight and mounting dust means Antoine Lestage in the Hyundai has even worse visibility. The farther you go back in the field, the bigger a problem dust becomes. There's no wind to blow away the dust. Tomorrow they'll run at 2-minute intervals. It's going to be easier for them. Lestage's split time, he's just over 5 seconds slower than Pat Richard.
And the local fans are cheering for this guy, Janusz Komorowski. He and Gord Olsen are the only Alberta drivers contesting the national championship. And he's 5th fastest at the split time.
Here's Patrick Richard approaching the end of stage 4. I'm really impressed at how his driving is improving. He hasn't had a lot of success yet at the WRC level, but he's learned so much and raised the level of his game so high. A racer's only as good as his competition, and Patrick is rising to the world level. I think it's fair to say he is the best North American rally driver at the moment.
290 left.
Wow, you look at the dust he's kicking up.
In the open areas, the dust blows away, but then you crest a hill and you can't see a thing. Now, this is a blind rally without pace notes, and sometimes you'll see rallies from Europe where the drivers have actually recce'd the entire course and made detailed notes. You're seeing this road for the first time.
And blind is right with all this dust. Look, he can't even see into the next corner. This is brutal. Comrie Picard approaches the finish line 11 seconds slower than Patrick Richard. That's a great deal over just 13.5 Ks. Comrie Picard has slipped to 3rd place. Rally leader Tom McGeer started this stage with a lead of 7 seconds.
Now here in the open areas, Paul, the visibility is not too bad. But then when you get into the tight sections between the trees, look at this, pea soup.
300, turn, hard left.
Oh, you can barely see him coming out of the gloom. And at the finish line, McGeer is 2nd fastest on the stage, but he still leads the rally overall by 3 seconds.
Antoine Lestage and Yannick Naper, they'll be 4th fastest on this stage, and they're also 4th in the Bighorn Rally. With each car, the dust is getting thicker.
Dans 300 mètres, droite 3 ouvert. Droite 3 ouvert.
This is an interesting car, Paul. It was purchased from the team in the United States, the Hyundai factory team, prepared by John Buffum. It is a very powerful 400 horsepower machine.
And in Group 2, the showdown between Volkswagen and Ford isn't really happening. The focus is slowed by engine problems, and Gord Olsen is running away with the class for VW. Vancouver's Scott Trinder is leading the Production 4 class comfortably in the same 1998 Impreza RS 2.5 that Pat Richard started his career with.
Trinder took the class lead when this car, the Mazda 323 GTX of Russ Foster, had trouble. What kind of trouble? Well, the next car behind him is the old Toyota of Peter Hill and Dave Sharp. They're just on stage 4, about halfway through, when they come across Foster's Mazda.
Now, it's a little too bad Russ Foster didn't have his sponsor decals on that skid plate.
Yeah, but watch this, Paul. It takes more than a rollover to stop a real rally guy. He's not out, he'll keep going.
They're back at it. Here's the leaderboard after stage 4, 1 stage to go to end day 1, and McGeer is in front by 3 seconds.
Here we go, stage 5. Now, it's nearly 10 o'clock at night. But in northwestern Alberta, it's not really dark yet. This is rally leader Tom McGeer. He's running 3rd on the road, but he holds a narrow 3-second lead in the rally. Now you'll notice, Paul, he doesn't have his big driving lights on. He's just running his headlights. He reckons this is a better tactic in the dust.
Well, it's got to be pretty much like driving in fog, except it comes and goes. It's patchy in places. It must be really frustrating for the drivers. And the dust is certainly hanging in the air. This is Andrew Comrie Picard, and as you see, he's got a full array of rally lights blazing away on the front of his car.
Yeah, I think those auxiliary lights make the dust even worse. At the finish line, he told me so. He said he could hardly see, and it slowed him down a lot. It's pretty, though.
It's like trying to drive through a layer of gauze. It's almost impossible.
Now, by contrast, here's Pat Richard. He started first on the road in recognition of his FIA B seeding, but overnight the rally will be reseeded, and Richard knows he has to beat Tom Aguirre by at least 3 seconds to avoid the dust tomorrow. Now, he's got all the lights on, and he's taking full advantage of the clear air. Telltale at the end of this stage indicated he hit 181 kilometers as a top speed on this stage.
At the finish line, Richard was 5 seconds faster than Aguirre, and the rally has its 4th leader in 5 stages.
It feels all right. I'm just having a little bit of trouble getting used to the handling with the differentials because they're not as tight as the car that we're using on the WRC, but it feels good. Hopefully we were able to pull back some time on Tom and Andrew and end up with the lead for tomorrow.
Just like Ericsson, Antoine Lestage limped out of the stage with a blown turbo, but he needed a tow from Janusz Komorowski to make it back to Edson for the night. Antoine Lestage will be towed into Parc Fermé, but his crew cannot fix the turbo. He's out.
And here are the standings after day 1. We'll be right back.
Shanghai Knights has incredible action and non-stop laps. And now, it's on DVD.
I call that one my Kung Pao chicken.
Loaded with special features including deleted scenes and the fight manual, where Jackie Chan takes you behind the scenes and puts you in the middle of the action.
Look out!
Shanghai Knights. Own it today on DVD and video.
That's the thing about chips. They're not crispers.
This is one way to make chickens plump. Mary Brown's has a better idea. We marinate our chickens for that famous plump and tender taste. Try Mary's Chicken Wrap Sandwiches. 3 flavors to choose from. Mary Brown's famous chicken and taters. It's better than good.
Vernon Wells and the Jays. Manny Ramirez and the Red Sox. Rogers Jays on Sportsnet. Tomorrow at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. The boys of summer are swinging the lumber in prime time. It's Sunday Night Baseball on Sportsnet. This week, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals take on Sean Green and the Dodgers. Sunday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific.
Welcome back to day 2 of the Makita Bighorn Rally. I'm Paul Chater with Lawrence Partington. 23 cars will start day 2, but not Sylvain Eriksson or Antoine Lestage, who has been leading the Canadian Championship. So we'll have a new leader when this rally is over. And they've both retired and have already started to work to get their cars repaired for another rally just 6 days later in Calgary.
Look at that traction off the start line, the grip there. That's Patrick Richard starting stage 6. He's leading the rally by 2 seconds. Now there's a bit of a breeze today and the cars will be running at 2-minute intervals, so dust should not be such a big factor. Oh, that's scary.
He just caught that. Even without Eriksson and Lestage, we have a terrific 3-way fight for the lead. On stage 3, Tom McGear posted the fast time, moving ahead of Andrew Comrie-Picard into first place in the rally. Comrie-Picard was second, just ahead of Patrick Richard. On stage 4, Richard put his foot down, winning the stage and jumping ahead of Comrie-Picard into second place, 3 seconds behind Subaru team leader McGear. Taking advantage of his dust-free road position, Richard won again on stage 5 by 5 seconds to take the rally lead away from McGear by 2 seconds. Stage 6 was a three-way tie with all 3 drivers covering the 13.5 kilometer stage at over 120 kilometers per hour. After 6 stages, Richard leads by 2 seconds and 19 seconds covers the top 3.
Here's Tom McGear starting stage 6. Before the rally, this stage was so rough that it was nearly canceled, but the forestry company that owns the road helped out by grading it. And now the road is almost too fast. Tom told me that his engine is set up to produce maximum power from 3,000 to 6,000 RPM. Past 6,000 and the power just falls right off. This road is so fast that when he gets up to 6th gear at maximum revs, he's only able to hit 170 to 175 kilometers per hour. On this stage, you need a higher top speed than that to win.
Comrie-Picard's Mitsubishi must be better suited to superfast stage 6. He wins it every time and by a dominating margin. There's an FIA safety rule that limits average speeds on special stages to a maximum of 120 Ks. So even when Comrie-Picard beats the Subarus, if they all go over 120, it's scored as a tie. Comrie-Picard is fastest on stage 7 by 1 second over Richard and 2 seconds from Tom McGear.
Comrie-Picard also wins stage 8. This is a repeat of a stage from the night before, but with no dust and most of the loose gravel swept off the racing line, Andrew Comrie-Picard blitzes it 38 seconds faster over the 13K stage. But the other fast guys improved too. So although Comrie-Picard wins the first 3 special stages of the day, he never wins by more than a second, and he remains 3rd in the rally.
Now the dust still appears to be a problem, but with the cars starting 2 minutes apart, it should give it some time to clear, Lawrence.
Yeah, and we have the benefit of a bit of breeze today. Yesterday, it was just nothing.
The top 3 cars are evenly matched. This is stage 7. On top of the screen is the number 1 Subaru STI of Patrick Richard, and below the number 4 WRX driven by team leader Tom McGear.
This makes a really interesting comparison with the 2 teammates split like this on the same road. McGear has a definite edge when it comes to accelerating out of the corners. But on the longer straightaways, Pat Richard on the top of the screen, he reels him in, and by the end, due to the higher top speed of his standard gearbox, he's caught right up.
90 left at the bottom of the hill.
Notice there's actually very little talk, Paul, from navigators Ian McCurdy or Howard Davis. This was supposed to be a stage note rally, but the team that was to create those notes was not allowed to travel due to SARS restrictions. Martin Headland is the co-driver who was going to write them. He was actually stuck in China with all flights home canceled. So we're back to an old-style blind rally with very little information from the co-driver. Remember, that's McGear on the bottom, Richard on top. Tom is definitely ahead here.
Yeah, and McGear on the bottom definitely has more punch coming out of the corners. The way the car is geared is giving a bit more grunt than Richard's got.
See, he's already out of that long bend, and Richard was still in it.
Watch this bridge. Right up there.
Here we come to the first split time. Yeah, Tom's leading by 2.3 seconds.
300 chicane.
Approaching a chicane, you can hear Howard Davis making the call. These chicanes, They've been added to slow the cars down, and it's an effort by the organizers to keep the average speeds below 120. They have to slow right down almost to a walking pace to get through these chicanes. If you hit any part of the chicane, it's a 15-second penalty for each element you hit.
Right. 300 medium right at Y, and 200.
Here comes the second split.
100.
Now Richard has reeled him in a bit. He trails by 1.9 seconds at the second split. And the fastest section is coming up.
Medium left.
Oh, look at Richard through that. He just keeps his foot down.
100. Okay.
And the two Subarus tie. Richard continues to lead, so after 8 stages, the leaderboard looks like this. 12 seconds covers the top 3. Komaruski is over 2 minutes back in 4th, followed by Scott Trinder in the top production car.
That's the thing about chips. They're not Crispers.
This is one way to make chickens plump. Mary Brown's has a better idea. We marinate our chickens for that famous plump and tender taste. Try Mary's chicken wrap sandwiches. 3 flavors to choose from. Mary Brown's famous chicken and taters. It's better than good.
Tic Tac. It's not just because they taste great. And it's not just because they freshen your breath. It's because they do both that they're amazing. It's not just a mint, it's a Tic Tac. If an extra strong mint freshens your breath like crazy and tastes good, what kind of mint is it? Only new extra strong Tic Tac. It's not just an extra strong mint, it's an extra strong Tic Tac.
Hey, Hinsky.
He's right. That is too big.
Welcome back to Alberta and the Makita Bighorn Rally. We're riding with rally leaders Patrick Richard and Ian McCurdy. They storm through stage 10 to win that stage and open up a 5-second lead in the rally. This is stage 11, the super fast Marlboro stage, and we're approaching the turning point in the event. They can almost coast to the finish line when disaster strikes.
Okay. We can make it to service. We can make it to service.
McCurdy's saying we can drive out of this thing to service, but it doesn't feel like a flat tire. Pat thought that Bangy might be a drive shaft, but then the engine cut out and the car just stopped.
Nothing.
Triangle.
Get the triangle, he says. Now here comes Tom McGeer, second on the road.
Turn long, medium right.
Tom sees McCurdy running with the triangle.
Turn long, medium rights. Down to hard rights.
Oh, he's right at the finish line.
Hard rights.
Tom Aguirre has taken the lead again, but he's more concerned about his teammate.
Okay, well done.
Patrick is on the Global Star sat phone talking to his crew.
There's a lot of wires hanging out.
Yeah, a lot of wires hanging out, that's true.
We had a tire delaminate at ultra high speed. And it ripped out the wiring harness. So we have no go. And I mean, we could try to rewire it, but
doesn't look so good.
A few there. That's too bad. We were leading. So.
The leader is out. This should be good news for Andrew Comrie Picard, but he has trouble on stage 11 as well.
Now that tall silver handle there, we talked about at the top of the show, that's the handbrake. Now, when your driver pulls the handbrake at high speeds on a straightaway, that's not good. Comrie Picard has lost a brake line, which means he has no rear brakes.
We lost the rear brakes halfway through the stage, so I finished it on the handbrake, which was a bit frightening at the high speeds. We were doing great. We went into second. We were dicing seconds for seconds with everybody, but with no rear brakes, this was a bit scary.
So, with Richard out, Komorowski moves up to third, and Comrie Picard to second overall.
Andrew's service crew will be able to repair the brakes easily at service. The car has a brand new braking system, which just hadn't been thoroughly tested. Comrie Picard is very happy with the car. It's never been so fast.
I think second place is pretty comfortable. We're perhaps 40 seconds behind Tom. We tied him on the last stage. The rally was a great battle between Tom and Pat and me until Pat went out and we had a brake failure, so we lost about 40 seconds there. And since then, you know, rather than being at 10 tenths, we're probably at 9.5 tenths. So Tom and I are still enjoying the battle, but the chances of catching him in the remaining stages, unless he has a problem, are pretty slim.
Here's the Yokohama top 10 after 11 stages. The leader, Tom Aguirre and Howard Davis.
Andrew Comrie Picard and Mark Goldfarb say they're happy in second place. They always say that. They want to win.
In third place, Janusz Komorowski and Malcolm Swan. They've never been this high before in a national rally.
The Americans, Randy Zimmer and Russell Straight. They're fourth.
And Scott Trinder, Brian Wendy are leading production 4.
The top two-wheel drive cars driven by Gord Olson with Dave Schindel in the right seat.
Magic Ogrotsky and Tanuta Ogrotsky are in 7th place in an Impreza.
Peter Hill and Scott Sharp in a 1976 Toyota Corolla.
Michelle and Chris Monette in another Toyota Corolla in 9th place.
10th place is Steve Barnes and Melanie Kelly from the East Coast. Big Audi. The P3 category is being led by Scott Cummins and Sandy Highgate in their Neon from Ontario.
And there's only one Quebec team left, Alain Lavoie and Veronique Daniel Resch leading P1. The Bighorn Rally continues right after this.
That's the thing about chips. They're not Crispers.
This is one way to make chickens plump. Mary Brown's has a better idea. We marinate our chickens for that famous plump and tender taste. Try Mary's chicken wrap sandwiches. 3 flavors to choose from. Mary Brown's famous chicken and taters. It's better than good.
Get into McDonald's this summer. Because we're introducing Summer Treat Wave, featuring the new 2-cheese ciabatta burger. 100% pure beef patty on a warm stone-baked ciabatta bun, topped with tomatoes, lettuce, onions, smoky summer sauce, pepper jack, and cheddar processed cheese.
McDonald's drive-thru, now open 24 hours.
You going in?
Mm-hmm.
Claret's?
In a minute. So...
Okay, I did it! Right on. I'll take one of the Claret's now. You make it look so easy. Yeah.
Now there are 2 new flavors of Claret's when you want to get rid of bad breath. Claret's, eliminate bad breath.
Sportsnet is the exclusive home of the 2003 Champions World Series of Soccer. The action begins Tuesday, July 22nd.
Tourists come from all over the world to see Eddie, the giant squirrel in Edson. At least that's what the town was hoping. Welcome back. We're at the Bighorn Rally, and it really is a pretty part of Alberta.
Oh, it's beautiful scenery. You can see the mountains. It's very exciting for a crew from Toronto. Lots of wildlife, deer, moose, bears. One of our cameramen, one of the guys from Toronto, was being circled by a wolf. He locked himself in his vehicle, and he said the wolf went back into the forest and then returned later with a coat hanger. We're watching rally leader Tom McGeer on stage 12 and 13. This is Mitchell Creek. Now you notice the road surface has changed a lot here, Paul. It's still very fast, but the gravel is much more coarse, more rocks-like. Andrew Comrie-Picard, he's starting 32 seconds behind rally leader McGeer. Little jump over the bridge there. See how rough the road is. Okay, here comes McGeer. He's approaching the finish of this 7-kilometer stage. That yellow sign is the 100-meter board. Here he comes to the finish line. 3 minutes and 24 seconds. That's the time to beat.
And here comes Comrie-Picard. Can he beat the 3-minute 24? Coming up to the finish control, and his time is 3:23, 1 second faster, but he needs more than that.
Janusz Komorowski is running solidly in 3rd place. He's done well in these Western rallies before, but he's always seems to break or crash. Maybe his new co-driver, the veteran Malcolm Swan from Prince Edward Island, will settle the young driver. A podium finish would be a huge accomplishment.
The American Randy Zimmer is several minutes behind Komorowski in 5th place. Zimmer only took up rallying recently after a long career in road racing. He's raced all kinds of sports cars, including the big Can-Am cars in the 80s.
He tells me rallying is more fun, so there.
I'll bet it is. And Scott Trinder works in the construction industry in Vancouver. He's done most of his rallying in the U.S., where he's scored well in the SCCA series. He drives an open-class Subaru in the States, but here in Canada, he's got Pat Richard's original non-turbo Impreza. Scott is hoping to follow in Pat's footsteps to the top ranks of the sport. He's 5th overall right now and leading P4.
Stage 14 with Tom McGeer. 6 stages to go, and Tom has a 33-second lead. Look at this beautiful drift. Flat out in 4th gear.
Comrie-Picard, the Mitsubishi driver, can match McGeer's pace, but he needs to post big wins to make up the 33 seconds.
Now this shot shows you how evenly matched these two are near the end of stage 14. Obviously that's Comrie-Picard on the bottom, McGeer on the top, right around the same corner. Slightly different line, but the speed is essentially the same. They continue to swap seconds. McGeer will win this uphill run by 5, then Comrie will come right back and win the downhill return trip. You know, Paul, Tom McGeer has been such a dominant force in this sport for the last 10 years. He has set himself up as the benchmark that all other Canadian rally drivers measure themselves against. Andrew Comrie-Picard must be feeling pretty good.
And we caught up with Tom McGeer at the service.
looks like so far everything runs okay. We got 4 more stages to go. Should be all right.
And also coming into service is Andrew Comrie Picard, and he just can't stop grinning.
The car is really hooked up. I think today we finally sort of got into the front of the pack. Without the brake failure, I think we'd be fighting for the win with Tom, which for me is like to fight with Tom McGear for the win. That's like, you know, that's my dream.
And it's great to see an Albertan back at the front. Third place, Janusz Komorowski is having his best drive ever in this championship, and he's headed for the podium. Next week is his home event in Calgary, and this performance must build some confidence for him.
Once Pat Richard broke, we basically decided to run safe mode, and we've been doing that ever since. So right now we're comfortably in third. We can't catch second, and we shouldn't be caught by fourth.
And here's another Western driver, Scott Trinder of Vancouver, BC. He's had a good rally, and he's certainly opening some eyes with his 4th place run at this point.
We're really happy with the way the rally is going. The car seems to be handling well and holding up to everything the roads have to throw it at.
They all say they're backing off and holding position, but that's actually very difficult. You want to stay close enough to the competition that if they have a small problem like a flat tire, you can pounce, take advantage. Also, if you consciously slow your pace, you relax, break concentration, and that's when crashes happen.
And the first stage is in the town of Robb. It's a special stage right through town, popular with the fans. It's part gravel, part asphalt. Let's ride with Tom McGear now on this stage through the town of Robb.
Oh, look at this, right off the road.
Oh, he kept it going though.
Oh, he's incredibly lucky. He went off the road, down over a bank, and there's a path back up onto the course. He only lost a few seconds in an incident that could have ended his whole rally. Tom told me later that his crew changed rear brake pads at service, and they're a bit grabby until they've been bedded in. Comrie Picard won the stage, but he was only able to gain 3 seconds on McGear's mistake. That's not nearly enough. Maybe he really was cruising.
Quite a difference in surface on this stage to some of the others we've seen. Tire choice pretty critical in this rally. And just about everybody has a good time in Robb when the rally comes to town.
Straight over A rail.
Here's the leaderboard after 17 stages. McGear leads Comrie Picard by 35 seconds. We'll be back with the conclusion of the Bighorn Rally right after this.
Fence and Ben Horn, weeknights at 6:30 on Sportsnet News.
Tic Tac. It's not just because they taste great. And it's not just because they freshen your breath. It's because they do both that they're amazing. It's not just a mint, it's a Tic Tac. If an extra strong mint freshens your breath like crazy and tastes good, what kind of mint is it? Only new extra strong Tic Tac. It's not just an extra strong mint, it's an extra strong Tic Tac.
This is one way to make chickens plump. Mary Brown's has a better idea. We marinate our chickens for that famous plump and tender taste. Try Mary's chicken wrap sandwiches. 3 flavors to choose from. Mary Brown's famous chicken and taters. It's better than good.
Tic-Tac. It's not just because they taste great. And it's not just because they freshen your breath. It's because they do both that they're amazing. It's not just a mint, it's a Tic-Tac. If an extra strong mint freshens your breath like crazy and tastes good, what kind of mint is it? Only new extra strong Tic-Tac. It's not just an extra strong mint, it's an extra strong Tic-Tac.
Welcome back to Alberta and the Canadian Rally Championship. We're in the closing stages of the Makita Bighorn Rally. I'm Paul Chater along with Lawrence Partington. And Lawrence, we've just got 2 stages left to go, 9.5 kilometers up a hill called Denison, and then back down again.
Long, medium left.
We're riding with Janusz Komorowski. We haven't talked about the altitude here, but the summit of Denison is 2,400 meters. That makes a huge difference in the horsepower that a car gets. It has a lot more at sea level than it does up at that altitude. The drive up needs lots of horsepower, and the ride down needs lots of courage.
And this man, Calgary driver Janusz Komorowski, has lots of both, Lawrence.
He's driving a Mitsubishi Eclipse, like an Eagle Talon. It used to be a very popular car in the 90s, but I can't remember the last time one made it to the podium. Well, rallying has been big in Quebec for a long time, but it's really catching on now in the West. Young drivers like Komorowski and Trinder are just 2 examples. The Vancouver import tuning scene has really started to pay attention to rallying. The upcoming Pacific Forest Rally in BC, brand new to the National Championship with 55 entries already.
Comrie Picard desperately wants to win his first rally. He obviously has talent, and he's won 7 stages here already, which proves it. He keeps improving and developing the car, too. He hasn't got the resources of a factory team, of course, but he's doing a great job.
Mark Goldfarb is Andrew's 3rd different co-driver in 3 events. If they can stick together and learn to work as a team, that might give Comrie Picard the last missing ingredient for victory.
And the 15 points for 2nd place is great for Comrie Picard's championship hopes, particularly since his main rivals for the championship, Pat Richard and Sylvain Eriksson, both failed to score here. He's passed them both in the points race.
Tom McGear looks like he's going to win, but the Subaru team does not expect to campaign Tom for the full year. His goal this year is to win the North American Rally Championship, well, which he won last year, so he's defending it.
And for Tom McGear, this victory must be reassuring. His teammate, Pat Richard, has been taking a lot of the headlines lately. And even though they're competitors, let's not forget that Tom and Trish McGear gave Richard his big break by including him on the Subaru Canada factory team 2 years ago.
Yeah, you think Tom would be very proud of his protege, if you can call Pat that, but Tom's a racer. Racers always want to win. This victory confirms that he's still the favorite in Canada whenever he starts. McGear, who came here in a backup capacity, suddenly finds himself leading in the Canadian Championship. You have to wonder if his 6th championship is on his mind. It's been a beautiful drive today. Trouble-free, totally controlled.
And we're inside with McGear as they come up to the finish control. There's the finish, and McGear wins the Bighorn Rally.
Well done, Tom.
Thank you, sir. Very nicely done.
Brilliant.
Marvelous day, great competition. It's too bad Pat and Sylvain went out early, but I had a great fight with Andrew all weekend, and fabulous. My thanks to everybody, all the workers, everybody who came and made this event possible.
And Andrew Comrie Picard 2nd by just 33 seconds.
We could have been fighting for the win, I think. Pat, Tom, and I had a great race going on. Pat went out, we had the brake failure, we lost the time, and after that we sort of couldn't have the bit in our teeth so much. But we won the previous 2 stages, and I don't know if we won this one. I think we were all just holding position a little, but maybe we wanted to have a little fun at the end.
And the final results in the Makita Bighorn Rally. Subaru on top with Tom McGear, the Mitsubishi of Comrie Picard in 2nd place, and another Mitsubishi in 3rd.
In the classes, Gord Olson and Dave Schindel win the Group 2 class.
Scott Trinder of Vancouver takes production 4.
The Canadian Championship has a new leader, Tom McGear, on 32 points. Comrie Picard has 30. Antoine Lestage was leading, now he's third, and Pat Richard, he's fifth.
And as Tom McGeer celebrates with the champagne on the podium, you're watching the first event on the Canadian Rally Championship here on Sportsnet. Drop us a line at sportsnet.ca. For Lawrence Partington, I'm Paul Chater. Join us next week for the next round in the championship.
Stand up, Howard.
Rallying on Sportsnet is brought to you in part by Yokohama Performance Radio. Yokohama, now you've got control. And by Subaru Canada, driven by what's inside.
Don't miss our next rally. That will be the Rocky Mountain Rally from Calgary. Monday, July 21st on the West Coast. The rest of the country, you'll see it on July 23rd. Check your local listings.